Hello and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric. We're celebrating a joyous occasion today, Luke and Laura's wedding. Who do I
Yeah.
got with me over there? With this terrible tie on. So we got Karen, Tommy, and Angel.
Hi.
um, Roll the credits, Tommy.
Okay.
Hi.
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 Hmm.
No, I was just realizing that
So
the credits, the order everybody was in is actually the order that we're in today.
How did that
Hi.
I'm good like that.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Luke and Laura's wedding drew over 30 million viewers on November 16th, 1981. It was the highest rated episodes in soap history.
Wow.
Ooh,
That sounds like a lot of people cut school.
yeah. I did hear a lot of stories. People work their schedules around GH and all that stuff, and people
In
left work
college.
early and
Mhm.
to college.
In fact, colleges even had a TV in their well, what is it called? I forgot. I haven't been in college in a few months.
Dorms. Oh,
Not dorms. Like student centers,
Okay.
and
oh,
they would have it on. They would have GH on or any other soap opera or whatever they're watching on.
Okay.
right. So really, there's not really much to say. It's like a wedding's happening and it's like everything's happy and it's like kind of like a Hallmark Channel episode, the first one, November 16th. Um, so I guess like we could talk about like what stood out to us.
um
Really.
well, I haven't seen much 80s GH, so it was really surprising to me to see the younger versions of people that I knew. Like even Ruby, it took me a second. I was like, who is this? And I was like, oh my god, it's Ruby.
That's weird because Ruby Anderson really looks the same forever. In fact, she and Bobby wear the same pea coats for like 25 years.
Really?
So Bobby has this red pea coat she wears for like 100 years.
Oh
And
wow.
so they all have like similar looks to them. What
Uh-huh.
stood out to me is like the fairground of the wedding was
Mhm.
like there's corn stalks. Like I know it's a fall wedding, but it was almost ridiculous because they had like carnival carts with food on it,
Mhm.
and everyone was bringing like different food to it. Like because a wedding is a wedding, it's the same stuff all the time. You get Laura
Yeah.
waking up, it's my wedding day, and everybody being excited
Yeah.
about that. But the
Mhm.
music really stood out to me because it was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
And Amy, I didn't
I
recognize
love
at
Amy.
first.
Oh,
Um,
Amy.
Yeah,
I did not
Shelly
recognize
Kemper.
Amy. She looked the same, I feel like. Amy looked the same, I thought.
Once I
Ruby, I
knew
could
who
see
it was,
why,
I
because
could
it's a big
see it. It
difference.
just took me a minute to adjust.
Gotcha.
I think
I
it's
gotcha.
weird too because
Yeah, because you were 11 years
Shelly's
previous
Shelly's
from
died
where you're
like
at.
so long ago now, and she was so young and so pretty and just so bouncy and full of life. Like she gets the lighter pink dress, so it's easy to pick her out from wherever she is. And
Mhm.
when Laura comes up in the antique car, she literally is jumping and running towards the car, and it's
I
crazy.
I love the music that plays when they have the antique cars. It just reminds me of Ren and Stimpy for some reason. Like when I rewatched
Ren and Stimpy.
when it came on in '98, because it re-aired in '98. I was like, "What's this Ren and Stimpy music?" When they were running to the car after, well, we'll get to it when after Luke and Scott's fight.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was like, I love this Ren and Stimpy music now.
Oh
Well,
my
this
God.
runs like any big GH event where you have main characters meeting in little groups and all bringing something to the wedding. Like you had Rose and Martha from Kelly's come together because they're the people from Kelly's. Then you had the Quartermains come, the Hardys were all together. So it's like the
The Beacher's
different,
Corners
the
people.
Beechers Corners group, they're all together. So what you see is like the different plot lines of General Hospital, they tend to clump together. And then you have crossover characters like Brian and Joe, who are in every storyline. They were
Mhm.
ushers, so they were literally moving people into different groups.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
So-
That was odd for me too, because I've only really ever seen Ed Sheehan on Knots Landing. So to see him on General Hospital, I was like, wow, he was at
Just
Luke
call
and
him
Laura's
Ed.
wedding. That's like a big thing.
He's
Doug
wonderful.
Sheehan.
Doug Sheehan.
Oh, Doug. I called him Ed.
Yeah, he was really
Ed.
good. I had forgot he was Joe Kelly at the time we were watching Knots Landing, and I really adored him on Knots Landing. He was very sweet, and when you get to General Hospital, you see that innate sweetness is Doug. Like that's his personality,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's very bouncy and cute in this. When he delivers, I think he's the one that takes Ruby down. And he actually curtsies to her before he walks away. He does like a little like dip in. It's so cute. And I like that Brian had such a big part in the wedding because like
Me too.
he dips in and out all the time. It's like you don't see Brian for a while and then he's like main feature of a storyline and then he's gone again. And you're like, what are you doing? Where's Brian?
Right.
And him and Claudia are like friends with everyone.
So
I didn't even notice Robert until he gave his speech. I was like, where the hell's Robert? Like, I feel like they hardly showed
He was
him.
with Luke most of the time because his job was to make sure Luke got to the altar, which is ridiculous because Luke is basically dancing to the altar. He's wanted this for like a year and a half.
I thought it was
Yeah, I like
interesting
how
Tiffany was a bridesmaid, considering they just met like 3 months ago.
Yeah, but they went through a
Yeah, but
very
they
intense
bonded,
situation on the Titan. So like they're friends for the rest of their lives.
So I thought the actor that plays Rick Weber looked really familiar, and so I went to his IMDb, and he was on Bold and the Beautiful, playing
Taylor's dad.
Taylor's dad. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, I thought he looked familiar.
Rick and Leslie are a big thing on General Hospital. They're one of the main power couples. So you get to see Leslie in
the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, and Leslie is very funny. Like
I like her.
She's great.
Yeah.
I like her.
I like Leslie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
And then also it was so I've never seen Lila Quartermain without the wheelchair. So I'm assuming
me too.
a car accident that Anna Lee had. Which I was like, oh, Lila.
Yeah. Anna Lee very slowly goes from walking upright. She was injured pretty early on, I think, and then she goes to a cane and then eventually to the wheelchair, which is how we see her basically for the rest of her run. And she was worried. She was worried when she had the cane that they were going to get rid of her. And she was definitely worried when she became, wheelchair bound that they were going to get rid of her, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing. Like, let's face it. She's like the head of the Quartermain clan. And like Edward showing up and being an ass was just so funny because she was mad because he was wearing a regular business suit. And she's like, where is your morning coat? And he's like, I'm not getting married. Like he's so he's so angry.
I like who was this David Lewis at the time?
Yeah.
David Lewis.
Yeah, David Lewis. We get John Ingalls later.
Yeah, very
You guys
good.
gotta check out Anna Lee and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She's the neighbor. She's the nosy neighbor.
Ooh,
really? So good.
Great.
That.
Yeah.
She's been acting forever. She's gorgeous. She
she's
never
great.
cuts her hair. Her hair is literally down to the floor, but she keeps it up in that kind of chignon type thing.
So
yeah, but she has Snow White hair forever.
The only major thing we have to point out in this is Laura lost her earring, which kind of becomes a little bit of a big deal.
Yeah, she lost one of her pearl earrings. I did like that Dan came in and he brought Macintosh apples, and there was like a ton of them there already because this was like a farm fresh party.
It was. I guess I don't know the Beecher. Is that what Beecher's Corners? Is that what it's called?
It sounds familiar.
I guess
very important to General Hospital history. Beecher's Corners.
I guess I don't know those characters because when they were showing them setting up outside, I'm like, who are these people? Like, I don't know who these people are.
So when Luke and Laura were on the run, you'll hear Luke and Laura refer to themselves as Lucy and Lloyd Johnson. Okay. And when they were during the Left-Handed Boy storyline, which is the very first summer on the run, they hid Beecher's Corners and they pretended to be a married couple. And they literally did the thing everybody does. They shared a bed, but they had a curtain between them and they never slept together until the very last night. So that's what they're talking about later on, is they're talking about their time.
Oh, when they were in the,
When he points to the lamp and he goes, remember that? That is how they hung the sheet between them.
Oh, okay.
So everything
we don't talk about the rape of 78. We ignore that.
It was considered a seduction at the time,
It was
and
seduction,
everything.
child. That's
Lit-
what she
Blake,
said.
Blake raped Crystal. Everybody raped everybody.
Sure did, and I
It was-
Everybody.
They did.
Raspberry
They did.
Polly, like
It was a staple of soaps, and I know now with modern lenses, we look at it and we go, "What a horrible thing!" Because yes, it was a horrible thing.
mhm.
But the writing style at the time was people wanted to be together, and somebody in the couple had to push it to make them get together, because Laura never would have cheated on Scotty, because otherwise that would have ruined Laura for you. So it's
But they
gross.
did acknowledge the rape when Liz got raped in 1997, I believe, on GH.
Yes, but they
Yeah.
also rewrote history a little bit in that, and they continued to rewrite Luke and Laura's story until they destroyed them. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. That's, you know, I mean, if you're going to look at Sonny and say he's not abusive, you got problems. You know?
I think
Right.
in general, I think soap fans have selective outrage when it comes to certain couples, because like
Sure.
I like
Mhm.
Sammy and EJ, and for all intents and purposes on Days of Our Lives, that was a rape. I mean, he coerced her into sex to save her husband at the time. So, but I love them as a couple. So it's like it's all about how they look.
I don't
at
like them as a
yeah, I
couple.
guess.
Because of
Even
that
on-
reason, I didn't
Even
like
if you
that.
look at One Life to Live, Todd Manning is the most popular character that's ever come out of that show, and
Mhm.
he was forced into a gang rape scenario by
Well, Vicky and
Paolo.
Dorian are.
Hal
Vicky and Dorian.
and I forgot the other guy's name.
Yeah, and the Noxzema girl. So
Like,
I don't know her real name, but she was
Rebecca
in
The
Gay.
that.
girl from
wait,
she
Marty.
was an urban legend. Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca
Rebecca
Gay.
Gayheart?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she was in Noxzema commercials for our entire childhood.
Yep.
Yeah. It was.
And we used to call her that all the time because nobody knew her name, because back then you didn't have IMDb to look it up.
Mhm.
Right, when she was on
So
90210,
we have
I was like, oh, the Noxzema girl.
so we have Delphina giving like the ladies glamming up here and there. She's all around in her solid gold dress.
A gold lame dress is a bold choice for a wedding.
Yeah.
It was
Well, that's
excellent.
Delphina's character.
Also, the hats were insane, people. Those hats were crazy. I love them, but they were like
What was it?
nuts.
Was that like normal pink or hot pink? I couldn't like really tell.
I think
Is
they
it
were
like
in
normal
hot pink, and I feel like
And
Amy
fuchsia?
was in like a bubblegum pink, and then Leslie was
Leslie
in
was like fuchsia.
Kind of
like
like
a
what I'm
fuchsia or
wearing, even though
burgundy.
it looks white, but it's actually a light pink.
yeah. So
Oh, really?
yeah, like a
Yeah,
light
you can't
pink.
tell in the plate.
Because Amy's her sister, so she would have had to stand out, and Leslie's her mama. I thought the way they went down the aisle was weird, because they didn't
Yeah.
match up the men with the women. They sent the
Mhm.
men down first, and then they sent the
Yeah.
ladies down. That was unusual.
Yeah.
Did that happen in classic weddings? So this felt like a really classic.
Well, I
like,
was at a
old school
wedding.
wedding.
I was at a wedding a few years ago, and there was more bridesmaids than brides, so the bridesmaids had to be paired up with each other because there were so many bridesmaids. So
That's fine. Anything that loosens up the little weird gender standards is fine with me. I just feel like at the time, I don't know if that was the thing they normally did, or if they should have at that time be pairing like boy girl like they like to do.
My best
Yeah.
friend got married last October, and I was on her side, obviously.
Mhm.
I actually wore this to kind of match the bridesmaids' dresses. And I walked down with her brother.
Yeah.
So
It's better now. Like, it was a little too weird and a little too strict in the 80s.
So
I did like. I thought it was funny. Delphina's her name.
Delphina, yep.
Was yelling at Amy because she like wrinkled her dress because she didn't sit right. And she,
Yeah.
she was like, well, she's like, I didn't know there was like a right way to sit or something.
Yeah. And then Delphina's like, until we finish the ceremony, no one sits,
Can't
no
sit.
sitting. And I was like, woman smacked a sticky bun out of Tiffany's hand. She's not letting them eat. Like, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Helena is seen as they get to like the aisle or whatever, and she's just like angry. She doesn't really say anything.
How about that awesome turban she's wearing, though?
oh yeah,
With the gem. Did that not remind you of Alexis Davis, like hardcore? Like, not Alexis Davis, Alexis Carrington.
Alexis Carrington, yeah.
I would have rather her curse them to their faces. I would have rather her like step up and be like, "I curse you." But
Yeah, it was
didn't
weird.
happen.
She sent the boat to Laura, and like
Yeah,
Laura opened the boat, and
The
I do
Titan.
remember that. Yeah, the Titan, and eventually to be the Haunted Star. But like
The
she
Haunted Star.
pulled
Wow,
she
you
pulled it
literally
out.
you literally just answered like 3 questions in my head and like
Oh,
the question would be like, was that the boat they were on going to the island, and does that become the one to start?
yeah. It becomes first it
Surprise.
becomes a dinner club. So
Okay.
when Tiffany says it's a great idea to make it into a dinner club, that's like
That's what
happening.
it is. Yeah.
But
Okay.
she
In
brings when she
1983.
brings the boat out, like it's just a tiny model of the boat. I didn't really understand, like she's cursing them, but she's cursing them in the weirdest way. Like she's like, here's a picture of a cute little boat. And Laura even looks at it because Leslie was really funny with the door guy. She's like, I assure you, I will stand there. I will watch her open this stupid package. Just leave. She's naked right now. Go away. And then he opens it, and it's just like this cute picture of the boat. And that's how Laura reacts. She's like, wow, this is really cute. It's the boat.
Uh-huh.
Cool. So she doesn't get that it's a curse. Like Eric's saying, like Helena is like secretly cursing them.
Mm-hmm.
And when Helena curses them, she has Laura's earring.
She does.
That's why I pointed
Yeah.
out the earring
Yeah.
in that other episode.
She's like, I'll curse you with back payments.
You must pay the docking fee.
Right. So yeah, so what does she say? My curse on you, Laura
Laura
and
and
Luke.
Luke.
My curse on
Curse
both
on
of you.
both of you.
Yeah, but she seems more aggressively angry at Laura than anyone else, like because she keeps mentioning her first. And I don't know, she just really is pissed. I mean, Laura does take the brunt of this curse, as you know, eventually.
From
Yeah,
like,
right.
whenever they talk about this wedding, I always thought that Elizabeth Taylor was only in that one episode. I didn't know.
Yeah,
she
I
was
thought
on
so
for, like,
too.
multiple. I didn't know she was on before the wedding, and then
I think
like,
it was
a little
3
bit after.
total.
It was only
I think
3.
it's a 3 total. Yeah, I think that's it.
It was her introduction, and then her little tete-a-tete at the hospital, and
Mhm.
then her reception that she has later on.
Yeah.
So, and most of that happens in the first episode. The wedding is the second, and then the reception is the third. She was funny at that reception because, like, John Paul was like, she wants everybody out of here in an hour. Like, she just wanted them to come. Here's the get out.
Yeah, she gave them $10,000.
Yeah. No, $10 million.
$10 million. Sorry.
Yeah. A lot more than 10,000.
Big difference.
One thing we do need to mention, though, is that the continuation of the fact that Laura is always hungry. This goes through everything. When Laura was, every time you see Laura, he's like, I'm not making you a sandwich. And she's always like, I'm so hungry. She didn't even want to go on the father-daughter dance or the dance with Luke because she was like, weddings work up an appetite, and I would like to eat right now. And Leslie's like, you could eat later, and taking the plates away. And Laura does not want to give up food.
Yeah.
And every time she says, because she said it a couple times in situations, she's just like, I'm hungry. And Luke always says, what else is new? You're always hungry.
Yeah, it's good to know that because I took it as she's just been starving herself to fit into her wedding dress, and that's why she's hungry.
No, when they came back from Mexico, one of the first things she said was she was hungry. When they were having the meeting at Kelly's, he was like, well, what do you want to do first? And she's like, I want to eat. I'm starving. And so
like her.
this is not new for Laura. Laura is like, she gets hangry, and Luke is always like, oh, you want to eat? I know you want to eat.
So right after they exchange their vows or whatever, they have this like crazy hoedown dance.
I love that.
So sad shade to the end of the line.
And then Robert gives his speech, and then they sing this "Bride Cuts the Cake" song, which I've never heard. I'm like, what is happening?
I've actually heard that before.
I've heard of the
At a
Farmer
wedding?
Giselle.
Not a recent one. Like years ago, they would do stuff like that because the thing that's in vogue right now is to ruin your relationship immediately by smashing cake into the woman's $800 makeup. So
yeah, right.
And then she immediately divorces you. That's how it goes.
That's why I'm getting married in the courthouse.
Smart. That's what my parents did. You should do that. It's cheap.
The older crowd goes off together, Leslie, Lee, and Gail, and Dan mentions seeing Helena, and they're like, ooh, we want to go see her. Well, she didn't know she was here.
Dan thinks she's the hottest thing ever. This is like the fourth time she is. But like Dan is like, she's a beautiful woman. She's a damn fine woman. I saw her. I would never mistake anyone else for Helena. I'm like, Dan, you got a crush.
I wish she
Helena
wish
was in these
Helena could
3
have hung around.
episodes, and then she's not seen again until the 90s, like when Constance Towers comes.
No, there's somebody before Constance Towers.
She gets recast. Oh, she gets recast, and then eventually she becomes the amazing Constance Towers, who is the best. I love Liz Taylor. I think she did a great job. I think Constance Towers is the closest thing to making it look like
Evil.
like it's the same woman because of her attitude towards them. She really does make it seem like she's the exact same woman that Liz Taylor was.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna look it up while you guys are talking.
I don't remember seeing the other Helena.
Yeah,
I believe I did. I believe I did. Let me.
I went on
I feel like
Wikipedia and it said Liz Taylor, and then it's I think somebody else in 96, and then Constance in 96, or the next year.
I feel like Leslie kind of puts a curse on them too, because she's like, finally, no more problems. I'm like, no, girl, problems are coming.
Way to ensure that there will be problems by saying, finally, no more problems.
Right? Good job, Leslie.
Yeah, that's you never say stuff like that. That's just saying like, oh, well, I'll be right
What
back.
else could go wrong?
Yeah, what else could go wrong?
Yeah. So, is Rick the one that catches the garter? Who catches the garter?
Rick.
It is Rick. Okay, I couldn't tell. And then Laura, I like how Laura teases Amy before she throws the bouquet. Amy, you ready? You ready? Amy.
She also said exactly what I was thinking when Rick caught the garter. She's like, of all people to catch the garter. Like it was her dad. That's weird. That's her grandmother's garter. That's like 2 layers of weird.
Yeah.
I know, right? And then Scotty catches it.
Yeah.
There he is.
And Luke like climbs down the wall.
He climbs down the wall. That was great.
He starts yelling, "I will kill you!" Like there's no,
I will kill you. I will kill you.
Scotty's just like, I'm stopping the wedding. Like there, and Luke is like, I'll kill you, and he just jumps, like literally just doesn't go around the side.
Nope.
Straight down to punch him.
Scotty screams, "There is no marriage.
Yeah.
You're still married to me," or something.
I'll contest the divorce. The hell
and they have a pretty good fist fight. I like that.
I loved that. And I loved that they had to, like, Brian had to get involved to start pulling people out of there. Like, it was crazy the way because Brian was Scotty's best friend. So having him in the mix is kind of like an added little FU.
Layer.
Yeah,
layer.
Yeah, right.
I love Scotty. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says. Scotty's not wrong in this scenario. They screwed him over so hardcore.
So I find it interesting that Scotty and Bobby were once in love.
Once and always.
And
forever.
Luke and Scotty hate each other. So I was like, I wonder how that went down, like when they were together.
Well,
because Bobby and Scotty got back together in like 2014, 13, something in there.
Oh, really?
For a little bit. Yeah.
They're always kind of off and on. Like once Scotty gets his hooks into a lady, he turns out multiple times because he's dated off and on dated Lucy Coe multiple times. He's dated Bobby multiple times. Like he's never let go of Laura. They're friends now, but he doesn't, like, he's been in her life her entire life. Like he doesn't go away.
I think, if Angel, correct me if I'm wrong, when we were watching the beginning of Tainted Love for the nurses' ball, him and Laura were back together.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and that was 2001.
That was like 2001. Yeah, or like summer 2001.
Yeah.
Wait, him and Laura? Lucy?
No. We were watching.
Scott and Laura were together in 2001.
Yeah, because they had the crossover with the nurses' ball. That was like the last.
Scott and Laura were together? I don't remember.
Was that after the divorce? Was that right after the divorce from Luke?
Yeah, that would have been after the divorce.
I'm a little shaky on that because I know when they got divorced, like Luke was kind of messing around with a lot of people.
Yeah, he was a mess. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that era when he threw the wedding ring off the pier.
Was that when they were teasing Luke and Felicia? Was that what they were doing?
Talk about that.
Probably.
It's not like I think they kind of flirted with the idea, but no one in General Hospital history is going to accept Felicia with anyone other than Max Scorpio or Frisco. And Frisco's a deadbeat dad, so screw him.
Yeah.
Demetra Arliss. Yeah, Demetra Arliss is the other actress that played Helena Cassadine.
for a
Gotcha.
short time.
So there were 3. Yeah, I think she was probably a placeholder until they found Constance Towers because she was in 96.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, and I mean, come on. She's incredible, Constance Towers. She always looks good.
Yes.
She's like 90 something and she
Well,
looks
I also
amazing.
have to ask her age. I was like, how old is she? Because I know she's getting up there.
She's in her 90s. She's in her 90s. I know that for sure.
yeah, she is.
Yeah,
But
she
she
just had
still
a
comes
birthday.
around. Yeah, she still comes around
Yeah.
to
I
do
thought it
like
was-
random
She's on a
videos or
videotape.
whatever.
Like they put a
Yeah,
videotape
yeah.
on her DVD in, and
Yeah.
then
I
she's
wish they had
there.
done more with that videotape as an aside. But I love that Laura was just like, nope, not dealing with this anymore. Turn that off.
That's
Oh.
Nope.
I totally forgot for a second that the Ice Princess was only a few months prior to this.
Yep.
Because I was like, Tiffany and Robert are together, and I'm like, oh,
Robert,
that's
yeah.
right. I'm like the Ice Princess.
Yeah, Tiffany
Yeah,
and Robert
Tiffany
were
is
together.
Princess.
They're together for a while, but it just never seems like Robert's all that interested in her.
I was about to ask that. It's like, is he even interested in her? Because like he seems like he's like, oh, this woman.
Robert is a constant
Yeah.
commitment phobe. He has issues committing. You'll see that again when he meets Jackie. Like he just does not commit.
Yeah.
I think Holly may have been the only woman he ever committed
Well,
to,
Anna?
other than Anna. But Anna
Yeah.
wasn't written yet.
Yeah.
She doesn't really exist yet.
Yeah.
So who came on first, Anna or Robin, or both?
Robin came
Robin
on by
came first?
herself.
Okay.
She was with what's the
Philomena?
she came Philomena. She came to town first. She was sent with Philomena, and then Anna appeared not long after that. She was like, I think Robin and I are the same age, so she was a very tiny little girl when she came on.
Did she know Robert was her father then?
I don't remember. I don't think so. Because Anna was a spy and it wasn't safe to keep Robin with her, so Philomena had the baby, and she was like 4. I think she was like 4 or 5 at the time.
Oh
I'll
wow.
let you know in a couple of years.
But I'm pretty sure Philomena and Robin came first, and then Anna came after.
Okay.
Because I think she sent, it's dangerous. I sent her to town, and then Anna comes after, like right after. That's like 85, isn't it?
Okay.
I think so. I think it's
Yeah.
85.
It's like 85.
So after the wedding, we have Rose fills in. What's the cop dude's name? I totally forget.
Burt Ramsey.
Thank you. I could not remember it. I was looking at him like, what is your name?
My
I put
head
cop dude.
My head is full of
Um,
information. It's terrible.
Fills them in on the wedding. I like how Bobby, Robert, Tiffany, Amy all come in and like they're raving about like how Luke like jumped down and punched her. Like they're like it was so awesome. Yeah, that was fun.
Joe Kelly's like what's her name? Heather Weber's lawyer.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
Lover.
a lot of fun things you get to learn in this that like relate directly to what's happening with Heather currently. One of them
Yeah.
is that Amy is 100% behind Heather, and and has total faith that Joe Kelly is going to get Heather out of the situation. And as I like to keep reminding Eric, it's not that Heather didn't try to kill Diana Taylor. It's just that she sucked at it and failed twice. So when they're saying that she didn't try to kill Diana Taylor, like, and they're trying to get her off and say that she's innocent, she isn't. She first tried to give her LSD and then accidentally took it herself. And she second tried to shoot her and did not. So it's not that she's not a homicidal maniac. She tried and failed. And like she believes her own lies. So she thinks she's
Did the LSD make her crazier? Like, did it like?
No,
It
She's
kind
really
of did, I think.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She spent a bunch of time in the nut house. Her mother, Alice Grant, was saying, if she's convicted, can we send her back to the crazy house because that's where she belongs. At the time, it was she gave away her baby and didn't react well to it, so she started having psychosis, and they put her in the hospital. And she did one of those things where she had the baby doll that she thought was a real baby. And Alice thought that was great because she was safe and she was not out trying to murder people. And that's her mother. So
Sounds like Stacey Hyduke's Patty Williams on YNR.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like the on Bold and
Yeah.
the Beautiful when Brooke was in was it Barbados, I want to say, and she had like the dolls that looked like Rick and Bridget.
Oh God.
Well, Patty used to talk to like a taxidermied kitten.
Mhm.
So Scotty's all butthurt and like
I love
goes to
Scotty.
Lee and he's still so pissed and angry and like Lee admits to him that he's the one that stole the papers and burnt them and Scotty's the one that broke into the Mexican place and stole those papers.
Hmm.
So yeah. All that is
And
out
they
there.
ask him, they said, when did you learn to be so cruel? And he gets very intense and he says, I learned to be cruel from Luke Spencer.
And he holds that
Luke and
energy for like
Laura.
40 years.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not
right.
letting it go. Him and Laura make up. They're like besties. They call on each other all the time. Luke's name comes up and he's just like, why won't he die?
And Luke and Laura go on to Beecher's Corners for their honeymoon, and they have to do
Yes.
all of this stuff like run the farm. Like, what's up with that?
That's
The
the worst honeymoon.
The notes were so funny. There were
It was
notes
so funny.
everywhere. There were notes on the
Even
lamp,
on their
on the fridge,
pillowcase.
right? And when they opened the refrigerator, she's like, "Look, Luke, more notes." There was notes everywhere.
In the
So
refrigerator, and he
Yeah.
drank the cider out the bottle.
Yeah, the hard cider. The hard cider.
I actually enjoy their time in Peacher's Corner on their honeymoon more than I did the wedding, because like a wedding is a wedding. And like the thing with Scotty really made it dope. But like when they're at Beecher's Corners and chickens are coming into the kitchen and the pressure cooker's exploding because they're trying to can pumpkin. By the way, that's not how you can pumpkin. And then that guy Buford keeps bringing more and more stuff in for them to do with like the chicken eggs and the piccalilli, which I don't even know what that is. And they have the Betty Crocker cookbook that they've covered up the Betty Crocker on. And and she's just like, this is our honeymoon.
And then
Yeah.
and then on their first night when there was like all that ruckus outside, and Luke opened the window and said, "Shut up! I got cider for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
said
got
it
hard
was called
cider.
a shiver, and that people just
Shiver.
bang pots until you buy them off with alcohol. And I was like,
Yeah, that
what?
was weird.
What in the medieval Europe is this?
Yeah, I was confused at first because like it opened with like Luke doing like farm work, and I was like, what? I was like, are they in Amish country? Like, what's happening right now?
They're staying on the Whitaker's farm so
And
they
then-
can go to the city, and they need to churn butter. And Laura doesn't know how to cook, and she has never known how to cook.
Yeah, there was like smoke coming from the house, and I was
As
like,
soon
I
as
thought
With her
was
being
happening.
hungry all the time, she would at least know how to do something kind of
Luke cooks. Luke
Make a
cooks.
sandwich.
Laura does
She
not
makes a
cook.
sandwich.
Yeah, that's the only thing she can make is like egg salad sandwiches. Laura is consistently unable to cook. This is like I kind of like that about her because you know at this time a classic woman would have been like a home ec princess.
Mhm.
Even though Bobby's a lawyer, like no, I'm sorry, Bobby's a nurse. She's probably good at home ec stuff, and
Mhm.
she was like a hooker.
Right.
So it's like, what's up, Laura? You know, she doesn't know how to do any of this.
Yeah. Scotty calls Laura a slut.
I loved that. I was like, ooh.
I know. I said that too. I didn't know
I was
slut was allowed on
surprised.
air back then.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, 1981 slut.
Well, she did sleep with Scotty before she divorced Luke, so I could see why he would think that.
Scotty's hair was I've never really seen Scotty with like floppy hair. I'm used to like
That's
his
normal.
like widow's peak thing that he has going on.
Yeah,
And he had a beard.
I like that look. That's like Scotty's losing his mind look. Every time he's having a really tough time in life, like the beard comes back full form and the hair gets long.
Yeah, when I first watched the Luke and Laura wedding in '98, I was like, wait, that's Scott? And because he had the beard and the hair, and I was, of course, earlier that day he was on Port Charles. So
he has that hair up until he has Serena. I think like he has that longish hair for a long time, or up into the early '90s.
And
Yeah,
Lee's
but I
upset
think in the
that
early
Scotty
90s,
had
he
fun
had
doing that.
Swooshed back.
Lee is really upset that Scotty planned to be as cruel as possible in this scenario because Lee always thinks the best of Scotty and like Scotty lets him down. But they have like a long cantankerous history because like Lee had a drinking problem and
Because he even said, why didn't you say this when they said, you know, like what is it? So forever hold your peace. Like, why didn't
Yeah.
you do it then? And he's like,
And he was like,
no, I
maximum
knew people
damage.
would want me to do it then. Yeah, like
Yeah,
he
it was too
knew when to do
obvious.
it.
Because you didn't even see it
Right.
in Luke and Laura's faces. Like, oh my gosh, is Scotty going to appear? Like, you can see.
Yeah, they were worried.
Mhm.
They were
really
worried.
Yeah.
So he wanted to wait until they felt like they were safe and then attack, which I think
did.
is fair. Like, I think is fair if you go back to the original scenario. Listen, I think Scotty should have given up by now. Obviously, Laura doesn't love him. It's over, whatever. But if you think about it, when Scotty and Laura were very young when they got married,
Mhm.
and he was a little misogynistic, but it's also the 70s, 80s. And he wanted her to stay home and do nothing, and she was in college and all that nonsense. But like, he married a girl, and when she got a job, according to him, she slept with the guy at the job and left him. Like, so near she was raped, but like, you know, like, as far as he's concerned, he didn't want her to have that job at the disco, and she got the job at the disco, and then their entire relationship fell apart. And then he's left. Everyone in town calls him a scumbag and a loser because he's mad that she cheated on him and married the guy she cheated on him with. Like, his point of view is not like
Yeah.
that out of the wild. And everyone's like, they saved us from a magical machine that froze the town. And he's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. That was pretty funny. Like
I
the
was in
sci-fi
Mexico,
stuff.
like,
And then
Robert's
Robert
like,
just,
no, it really happened.
yeah. And if you were Scotty, right, and you were in Mexico and you're drunk in Mexico because your wife cheated on you with a guy you hate, and you come
Right.
back to town and everyone's like, no, by the way, that guy that ruined your whole life and your future, we think he's Jesus. We think he's Port Charles Jesus, and we love him. And you're literally walking around town listening to people talk about how you getting punched in the face was great because you're a scumbag. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can see how his victimization keeps building up into more and more bitterness. Like, I get it. I get it.
I love Bobby when she talked to Scotty. Like she tried really hard to get through to him. And I
She
think
did.
she might have a little bit.
When he
Like a
called
little
her
bit.
sunshine, I thought he softened up a little bit towards her, and then she started supporting her brother, and then he got mad because he does
Yeah.
love her, like, you
Mhm.
know.
Right.
I like that she kind of brought up that her and Laura haven't always gotten along. But
She's
she
been
kinda-
bringing
Yeah.
that up a lot.
but she kind of pushed it to the side for everyone's for the better.
Yeah.
Oh, so this might be the first time ever that I've tuned into like a random timeline in GH and seen Monica and Alan not really on great terms.
I love Monica and Ellen.
Mhm.
They had a line that they were
This
both
is
here.
fresh off this is fresh off of them trying to kill each other like the previous year, so
Oh, is it?
drop that
Yeah.
house.
Because
Drop
Lila's
that
like,
house.
"Oh, I'm so happy the family's here," and they're like, "We're just here because we
and
have a child in common."
Yeah, they have
and
AJ.
his what's his
Susan.
the mistress
Susan.
just had
Susan Moore.
Jason. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Susan Moore has had the baby, and for the last month and a half, Alan has been trying. Is this in that timeline? I'm watching two General Hospital timelines at the same time, but like, she has the baby, and
You're watching
Alan
three.
has moved. Alan has moved into the cottage with her, so they're
Oh.
at the cottage. Monica and Alan are currently separated, but Monica refuses to divorce Alan because because Lila told her not to try and get everything. And Lila has now instituted weekly dinners at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, I think, and they're not allowed to get out of it
Yeah,
because currently
Sounds like
Lila
Gilmore
owns because Alex Quartermain died,
Yes.
and she got all the stock. Lila Quartermain has controlling interest in ELQ, so she now runs the entire Quartermain fortune, and everyone
Yeah.
has to do what she wants.
Yeah.
How does Edward feel about that?
He's not happy. He's actually very
He's not
angry with
happy
her.
at all.
He's tried to get her to sign the shares over to him.
He tried to go, well, not really even behind her back, but he tried to go to Europe to like get it taken care of. So like,
She let him because she knew
like-
he wasn't going to get anywhere.
yeah, and he didn't get anywhere. So yeah, it's funny.
So that's currently the state of the Quartermain family. Is we've just lost Alex Quartermain,
Mhm.
and because of the fallout from that, Lila has controlling interest in ELQ.
Okay.
And she is literally controlling every aspect of the family. She doesn't want Monica and Alan to get divorced, so she's throwing as many wrenches into that situation as possible. And also, Alan
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be happy to be at the cottage because I think he's a poor little rich boy, and I don't think he can take being in the cottage. because he
No.
seems distant from Susan from before when he was very loving towards her. He seems much more distant now that they're in the cottage together.
So in the cottage, the Beecher's Corner people left that nightie for Laura, and then left Luke like this Ebenezer Scrooge type outfit. Hat, like direct from the 30s, it looked like.
The funniest thing
like,
about that was
Ebenezer.
that they said they made the lace themselves on the nightgown, and Luke was like, liars.
Right.
It was fun seeing them in a crazy situation where they were like overwhelmed and trying it was very cute, very funny.
It was funny. And then we have in this one, Tiffany talks to Robert about like their relationship, and she's like, yeah, he's like, I need like 5 minutes to think about it. She's like, we should move in together.
His commitment. Yeah. He does not.
Which she kind of knows, I feel like already. She kind of senses
They're
it.
also not a good match because she's incredibly materialistic, and he's not a good match for that. Like, he can't get her what she wants. Yeah. And he makes fun of her all the time. Like, she was saying how she was in a movie with Douglas Fairbanks. And he turns around and says before or after the Depression, saying basically before when he was a good actor or after when he was a bad actor and you're terrible. Because he calls her a B-list actor all the time.
Man.
He does.
I took it as he was calling her old because it was like going back. So
it may have been both because remember the last time.
He was an actor in like the 40s.
The last time he made fun of her acting, he said she was with the one set and it was paper cups. It was a paper cup company. So he was saying she was cheap. So like
and her acting got them through the island stuff. Like she did a lot of stuff like for them. So I mean, Robert.
Yeah, she has a lot of contacts with a lot of like judges and people. So she's consistently useful. But he sees her as incredibly materialistic, and in a way she is. But who cares? She's awesome.
Yeah, I love her.
I love
you should.
So, Scotty gets attacked at the bar, too.
Yeah.
From the people that love Luke and Laura.
All of this is unfair. Like, he was literally sitting at the bar minding his own business and they were talking shit. And then they started a brawl. And then he had to be pulled out of the brawl. Like, it was like 10 of them against him.
By Brian, I think, right?
That was shitty.
Yeah, Brian, yeah. I love Brian.
Brian saved the day.
Brian's a hothead. I'm surprised in this situation that he kept his head and he was very cool, calm, and collected, which is not like Brian.
So my last note for that one was Luke thanks Laura for marrying him. I thought that was
so sweet.
No.
Every look they gave each other was adorable. Like they were very much loving, and I love Luke and Laura. I can't. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I admit I like them too. Especially their '93 return. Oh, that was so good. But yes, and it's a testament to the actors that play them. It's like it's not that I ignore what happened on the disco floor.
Right.
It's the fact that the actors' chemistry, Jeannie Francis and Anthony Geary, is just amazing.
Yeah, because even when they were in storylines like not together, I feel like they still had great chemistry. Like you wanted them to be around each other in storylines. Like
yeah, I hate when they broke them up. Honestly, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the way it was handled. I understood what they were trying to do, and I appreciated it. But at the same time, I really liked them together. And I love Jeannie Francis now. Like I think currently her Laura's relationship with Kevin is adorable. So like I'm not upset about it. Mm-hmm. It's just they were such a big thing. And even after they broke up, you could tell that they had the relationship almost like Sonny and Carly have, where it's like, I hate you, but I'll do anything for you. And I really do love you, but you're annoying right now. Like, because like even with Sonny, who's walking around currently right now telling everybody he hates everyone, he doesn't want to be friends with anyone. He still goes to Carly for advice. And I feel like Luke and Laura had that same kind of relationship where they never let each other go fully.
Yeah. But for like a historic couple, I feel like they should have tried harder. Like, I don't know.
And wasn't that Bob Guza Jr. at the time? So. Yeah, he did not like Luke and Laura. Like he did not. He was pushing his Sonny, Carly, Jason throuple onto us all the time.
Yep. And here we are today with the same
same thing, different day.
I always find it doesn't Jeannie Francis leave the show like soon? Like 80
'82, January '82.
Yeah, like 2 months after the wedding. Like that's so crazy. Like after the biggest
I
event
thought
in
that too.
history.
Right?
Um,
I know she had issues.
I think she wanted to do other things. She had issues, and she was never
She
being
had
treated as
issues.
well as the male cast members. She couldn't get what
Right.
she wanted. That's a recurring theme in her life. Is that like, and that's, I mean, obviously it's a product of the times. Is that they just would give the male actors a little more leeway than they would give the female actors, which is garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
Considering this
So
is
now-
totally a female pushed
Genre.
genre.
So in November 19th, we have Helena's reception is
Love it.
happening. So everybody's getting ready for that.
Gorgeous
And
dress.
Heather's hearing. I put that her sack looks like Ruby's. I don't know if you guys saw Ruby's sack, but it's this big blue sack that she wears for her job, whatever she does at General Hospital. I don't know exactly
She's
what.
maintenance. She's maintenance. She does like
She's maintenance.
changing the sheets and stuff like that. She rolls patients around. She's just maintenance.
Well, yeah, Heather had the same sack, but of course a smaller size.
But she also
And
did her hair like a little.
She got
little
her
house
hair.
on the prairie.
She got her
I
hair did. I'm like, did they do hair in jail?
No.
I'm like, but it looked cute. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you look good for your hearing.
Yeah. I think she was doing it on purpose to give an air of innocence to herself, which she's not very good at, to be honest.
See, I always thought the LSD incident is what made her crazy. Like she just like never
Mhm.
recovered from
No,
it.
it was cobalt poisoning after a skiing accident. She had this hip replacement put in, and it made her crazy. No, she was already murdering people before that happened. Come on.
I know. It's silly. But I like it.
Used to get out of prison. I do not care. Do it. Bring it on.
So yeah, Helena says she's going to cancel her whole shebang if Luke doesn't show up, and of course he's on his honeymoon. So they're like, yeah, we'll give him a call, and he does head over there.
It was funny though when Luke answered the phone and he thought it was the old folks home wanting the churned butter that Laura didn't know how to churn. And he's just like, listen, you can go to the market and buy some butter and then I'll pay for it. And Rick is like, no, it's me, Rick, but hey, continue to tell me about the butter.
I liked it on the phones. They're like on the phone. Well, first Scott did it, then Luke did it. They're like, who is it?
Speaking of, like, remember, Kara, how you said that Laura's always like first in
Okay.
Helena's mind? I'm wondering if she kind of like crushed on Luke because remember in Constance Towers how she was always talking with Luke. I'm wondering if she was
Remember
like
in real life that they had an affair. So
Yeah.
Elizabeth
I
Taylor.
could I could tell knowing that information, like you could just see that they were about to pound each other on that set.
I believe Tony Geary's exact words were, I was Liz Taylor's boy toy for a while. So that was from the Wendy Williams show, I think, was when he said that.
It was
wow.
also
Yeah.
on the 60th anniversary Paley Center thing.
Oh, really?
You guys
the Paley
watched
Center,
that?
yeah.
Like somebody asked the question to Jeannie Francis, and then she was like, I'm gonna turn that question over to Tony.
Well, they said at one point that he said he would never mention it because he's a gentleman and it was rude to say anything about it. But she had said that they were lovers in a different interview. So then he admitted to it, and then somebody accused it of being a hoax. And he said that they were just friends, and Liz Taylor's feelings were hurt. She said, you hurt my feelings telling people that we were just friends because we were not just friends. So now he just admits it. You know?
Wow. I always thought he was gay.
He's
Honestly.
bi. He's got
I
a
think he
husband
might be bi.
now.
Oh, does he?
He's got a husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he is bi. Okay,
Yeah, he's bi.
Happy Pride Day.
Or unless you
Happy
know,
Pride Month.
from what I understand, I mean, I can't obviously
Happy
tell
Pride.
you somebody else's sexuality, but he has dated both, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
He was very private
Yeah.
about that sort of thing, which he should
As
be.
he
It's
should,
nobody's
yes.
business.
Nobody's supposed to know his.
So he and Helena talk or whatever, and he said something about like had a dream or a vision, and that her husband had a dream and a vision, Mikos, and he did try to save him, because they like bonded over being poor.
Right.
And she's like, Mikos didn't deserve his fate, and she puts a flower on him, and he backed out.
Oh, I forget what she said, but she said something along the lines of "You're very much like him," and he got freaked out.
Mm.
Mhm.
She kept comparing them to each other, and she said
Yeah.
that he craves power. She's not wrong, by the way. That's accurate. But that he craves power, and he says, "I don't crave power. I crave what power can give me."
Mm.
And it's like that's nuance, but at the same time, like, come on, it's the same thing. Like you're just splitting hairs. But
Yeah.
it freaks him out when she puts the rose on him. She's like literally cursing them like piece by piece all for the
Yeah,
next couple
because she's, like,
episodes.
fighting back tears like she misses her husband, but then she kinda smirks once he's gone, like,
Yeah,
and
but
then
she's
she cursed him with
so
the rose.
gorgeous in that scene. Whatever that dress is
She
she's
is.
wearing is crushing. Like she looks amazing.
And this is when I realized I
Yeah.
didn't know she was on multiple episodes because the scene they always show is her with the turban on.
Right.
Yeah.
Whenever they
Right.
show, like, a clip of
The
it.
curse you one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had the scene with her in the beautiful purple dress and then the elegant white dress and now this cool multicolor number and then back to the turban because that's her evil look, I guess.
So Lila says that Edward is home with a cold because he wanted to get out of it.
He
Yeah.
just didn't want to go.
Yeah, he didn't want to go.
No, he's a mean old man.
She said he used that excuse at New Year's also. She's
Yeah, yeah. And the Titan arrived.
Yeah, yeah.
Helena comes out. She approves of GH. She gives $10 million in Mikos's name, and she leaves.
Mhm.
Bye.
That's
Bye.
it. That's her
Yeah.
announcement.
See you in 96.
We'll see you in a few decades.
See ya. So you said, Tommy, I think you told me that Stavros comes soon, right? In 83?
November of 83, so probably sweeps.
November of 83. We're in July. We're like toward the end of July of 83 now, me and Karen.
Yeah, it gets a little murky for me here now because I haven't rewatched it and I would have been very young at the time all of this was happening.
It always
Um,
surprises me how little the Cassadines were actually on for their stints because of how heavily they're used from the 90s
Yeah.
onward. I always,
Yeah.
when I'm like, oh, they're only on for a month or 2 months here.
Yeah, but
2 days.
every showing is impactful. Anytime a cast sign is there, they make big waves.
Mhm.
So people think of them almost like a curse on the town because even Leslie is like, let's not mention their names, let's not talk about them anymore. So like they're all afraid of this big family. And it has ripples because so many people in town in the current atmosphere are related to Cassadines through nefarious means. Like nobody just married a Cassadine and had a bunch of kids. It's never like that.
Yeah.
Like Alexis, her mother was murdered by Helena. You know, it's like crazy the way they're all related. That story's horrible, by the way.
And
For
Helena
Alexis.
is ready to leave, and she looks at the picture of the boat and she like crinkles it up. Enjoy your gift, Luke and Laura, if you can, and rolls out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So I noticed
Yeah.
there was SoapNet logos all over these episodes. Did SoapNet air this whole week worth of episodes?
Probably.
No, they
Yeah.
only I don't think they aired this one, the 19th. I don't think was shown on SoapNet, but the weddings was. I think with those 3 days, I think were
They used
the
to do
16th,
like
17th,
little like groupings of episodes from older seasons. Like they were showing the
18th.
and other shows, some of the other shows they started earlier on, but they didn't start at the
had-
beginning of anything. It was annoying.
Yeah.
They had a Luke and
I
Laura
think they did with
weekend.
GH though. I think they had the first episode
They had-
of GH on SoapNet.
They showed one episode. They showed the
They
one
yeah,
with
did.
Steve.
just one episode, yeah.
No. On SoapNet, they had a whole weekend of their. I think it was their 50th anniversary at the time. They had 50 episodes of GH all weekend long, and it had like big storylines. Basically, it started from the beginning. They showed a couple from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like I recorded most of it, but they cut a lot too because they cut it to 36 minutes when originally it's 42.
Yeah, because I remember watching
They
because
cut
I
stuff
wanted
out.
to see Steve and Audrey when they were young. Because
Mhm.
I love the Hardys, and they're out of fashion at this point because they're older, so they've been shoved into the background of some of the storylines, which is funny because Lee and Gail have been shoved front and center, and Lila never leaves the spotlight. But like certain of the older characters, like Georgia and Jesse, they start getting pushed kind of backwards when they were more important earlier on.
So I don't have much about the last episode. We have Joe talking to, I forget the burglar guy, the Crimson guy.
Crimpin, I think it is Crimpin.
Is it Crimpin? I thought it was Crimson. But whatever.
No.
That
That
guy,
guy
the
made me
burglar.
laugh
Dude.
because Joe, I guess, got a haircut before he met up with him, and he's like, "Oh, you got
He's
all
like,
pretty for me."
you smell nice too.
Like,
I was like,
the
what?
barber just put a bunch of tonic in my hair. I didn't like it.
And he's the one that was accused of possibly killing Diana as well, like because he was the burglar.
Okay.
So
So
he
questions
tells
him
the
about
truth.
that.
I think he's telling the truth. I don't
I think
know.
he is. He doesn't seem like he's lying.
He seems like at this point he's done with everything, and now he's just messing with everybody who talks to him because
So we
he's
still
like,
don't know who did it.
yeah, we still don't know who did it.
Yeah.
Let me see. I know
Lee
there's a
gets
lot.
on- okay.
A lot going on with like how Scotty just all of a sudden gets a haircut, shaves his beard off, and then starts lying his face off to everybody about how he doesn't want revenge anymore. And they all buy it. And I was like, no way, come on. He just said in the last
Right.
episode that he would die before he let this go, and then he gets a haircut and he's back to being good Scotty. This isn't Star Trek. That's not how that works.
And then he says something. I guess there's more papers in Mexico because he's like when he's gonna go get the papers and give them to Lee when they come or something.
It's the one he stole. It's the divorce decree he stole. He said it's
Oh,
with
I
his
thought he
things in
destroyed it.
Mexico.
Okay,
No,
so he didn't.
only
destroy it.
Lee destroyed legal documents. Scotty did not.
Rick calls Luke and Laura and tells her that Scotty won't contest the divorce.
The pumpkins get everywhere.
Now, I was confused about what Joe wanted. He wanted to find the people on the bus. What bus? of
Crimpin
Diana's
said
mother.
that after he escaped he heard the shot, he heard the scream, he heard the shot, he dipped, he got on a bus and went home. Now, whether or not this is a red herring or not, I don't know because at this
so
point,
people on
Crimpin
the
is
bus
like,
to
first he
prove
tried to get the bus
Okay.
driver, and the bus driver didn't remember anything because he's a bus driver. He doesn't care who's on the bus. And then he goes,
Right.
what if I talk to passengers? So now, and what if the guy in the bus depot said a very weird thing, and I wonder if he said there was a missing girl and everybody was interested in the missing girl at the time. And then no one said anything else about it. And I'm like, what? You can't just say there was a missing girl and then
Right.
never cover it. Like, what is that?
That's
I
so
hate when
weird.
they do that. It's gonna come back, but I don't know when.
Well, this wedding's over, so I'm done with this tie.
Well, I'm not taking off the dress.
Take it off. Take it off.
No.
So, and my last note on this one is Luke and Laura at the end, and Luke wants to take a little nappy poo. And she's like, "Oh, a nappy poo, eh?"
I like when they try to get comfortable and he accidentally pulls her hair and she's like, ow, my hair. That felt like that was real.
Along these episodes too, Joe and Lee have a conversation, like because Scotty was supposed to get back with Lee in the firm when he got back, and Joe was only holding his place. And I basically Lee's like, "Nah, you can stay if you want, whatever," because they kind of bonded.
Yeah, but didn't they say that
Especially
Scotty
over
was
the
coming
alcohol.
back? Like he agreed to come back?
Scotty agreed to come back. He told Joe that he was coming back, and Joe said that he always wanted to work in the waterfront, which is the poor neighborhood, basically. That's the Charles Street area in the future. So he was going to go work there and maybe do like pro bono work and stuff. So he said that had always been his plan, and that working for Lee, he did that for experience, but he always knew he was a placeholder for Scotty.
That's so funny because where I'm watching in 92, Dominique just bought Scotty a waterfront office.
Yeah.
Oh, Dominique! Wow.
Yeah, this waterfront hangs around. They do many things with it.
No, they never built. They never built the mall. Michael never rehabs the area. It goes through a gentrification period that gets disrupted by Mary May Ward. Like they literally every once in a while they remember there's poor people in town, and then they go over there and then they mess up their days. It's just like leave them alone.
So all in all, what did you guys think of the wedding itself? Did you think it was worth the 30 million views? Or, like, did you think wasn't?
Oh,
30 million seems like a lot. It seems excessive.
Okay,
some
so
of the Super Bowl numbers, right?
Well,
I'm gonna say
people were.
blood. I think it was
People,
the cult.
I think I think it was because Luke and Laura was such a big thing, and
It's
people are
the
watching their
culmination of
story.
2 years of storyline in
Yeah.
that they
Right.
finally get to be together. And if you
Yeah.
watched it consistently, you're watching them try to be together, and like so many obstacles between them that this was literally like the end of 2 years worth of them pining over each other. And and I liked that they didn't sleep together right away when they were on the honeymoon because they had built it up, and every time they tried to sleep together, like Luke gives a litany of all the times Laura does, about all the times they tried to sleep together and were interrupted. So then they both realized that maybe that this was perfect, that they waited until they were married and then they got to sleep together, and it was
When
very
they were
sweet.
on the island for the Ice Princess, Laura was trying to like every chance she got was trying to like jump his bones.
And Robert, what do they
And he
say? And
wasn't
Robert
having it.
was always there.
Yeah.
And even the last time when they were on the island and everything was sorted and they were literally up by the waterfall and they're getting ready to bang, and who shows up? Her parents. So I think it was worth it, and I thought it was a really big spectacle, and I thought it was a great idea to have absolutely every member of the cast on screen. That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, I like that that it was like I thought it was kind of a boring episode. I would have liked to have been at the wedding, that kind of wedding. But for an episode, I felt like, I don't know, it was a little excessive with wedding because it was just all their wedding, which I get it because back then it was building up and
Well,
the story, but
so they cut out certain things. I remember watching in '98. There was like a scene with like I think it was Anne Logan in the hospital, and I forgot
okay.
who else was
It
in the
did
hospital
seem
with
like
her.
things
Anne
were
Logan was
cut,
at the
so
she was at the wedding though. Anne Logan walked in. She was
yeah, but
there
I
with
guess
the
they must
Hardys.
have had other. They
And then
probably had
and
other
I think that
stuff
she went to
going
the
on.
hospital because I remember seeing her there. She went back to the hospital because she was like, this is not for
Well,
me.
also Noah wasn't at the
Mm.
wedding, and that doesn't make any sense because unless he was working, Noah was involved with Bobby and should have been her plus one at the
Yeah.
wedding.
Well, remember he was in the place they met up afterward, and she told him said he was at work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because Bobby
there were
filled him in on
moments
everything.
where I was like, was it edited like this, or are these just because it was on SoapNet? Because I felt very like there was moments where it felt like quick cuts, and I'm like, wait.
Well,
Yeah,
remember
I think
General
because it was on
Hospital used to
SoapNet.
be over 40 minutes for the original
Yeah.
episodes,
Yeah.
and then to show it for rebroadcast it. Like Angel said, they probably clipped it in
Yeah.
spots to make more space, because like the important parts of the episode are when they get married and walk down the aisle and Luke does that, like he does that cheer. That's like a big promo
Mhm.
thing that they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was nice because at the time, remember, like the humor is that the wife is the old ball and chain, and Luke was like, "Nope, going down the aisle, getting married, never getting out of here. I'm so excited to be married." So like it was a different point of view than
Yeah.
some shows have, and I think the important part was like Robert's speech and then Scotty trashing everything. But like, how interesting can weddings really be when you have to hit the same points every single time?
And then,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
when
no,
they leave, when Luke and Laura leave, they show them riding off to Beatrice Corners in the car that Luke was brought in. Luke actually drives the car. They didn't show that, but I remember that because it was like
Yeah,
they
you
ran
do. You're
I
right.
remember that too.
I have a video.
Cries, and he's like, he will not contest. Like I love that scene so much. They didn't have it, so.
Yeah, it does. I think they focus more on the happy moments than what you want in a soap, which is like the high drama
The
of it.
mix of it, yeah.
Yeah, because like
That's what I missed from it,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
As far as a wedding episode goes, though, if I was grading on a scale of like 1 to 10, I'd give it a 10. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I liked all the cute moments. Like I said, with many, like they have brought everyone that ever met Luke and Laura onto this set.
Yeah.
There was that one guy that had the voice, like the voice from the smokers commercial where you get the tracheotomy and you get the, like,
oh my god, you remind me of somebody I knew.
yeah, and I was like, who is this guy? I don't remember him, and he's scared. Like he's got that voice, and I'm like, what is his tragic backstory? And like that, and he was just on for a second.
Tragic
Yeah,
backstory.
regrets. And they just moved him off to the side, and like we got very little with the Quartermains. Monica and Alan were like a blip, and they were gone. That's unusual in big events like
Yeah.
that. Monica and Alan almost always have a scene where they tell each other they either love each other or they hate each other, depending on what week it is.
Right.
I thought it was funny. Well, not funny, but after Luke punched, well, more than punched beat up Scotty. Then he's like, come on, let's go on our honeymoon. But they were like running as if they were going to be on the run again from Scotty.
Yeah. They're like, let's
Basically.
get out of here before someone calls the cops. I don't
Yeah.
think you can beat the crap out of somebody at a wedding and get away with
Yeah,
it
'cause,
without
like,
some
everybody
legal
was
action.
just, like, they were like, just leave, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like,
Right.
lucky because like Luke is not friends with the police department, so like Ramsey's not at the wedding because he would have had to arrest everyone and bring
Right.
them in for beating the crap
Yeah.
out of each other.
I always enjoy the dynamic between Ruby, Bobby, and Luke. So because she's like their mother figure.
Yeah,
So when
she's
Luke first-
problematic too.
When Luke kind of confirmed that was Ruby, even though I kind of at that point was like, oh, Ruby. When he said Ruby and he like hugged her, I'm like, oh, that's sweet. I like that.
It's funny, but I always think about like that Ruby was a madam, and
Me
that
too. My mind
Ruby-
always goes there.
Ruby had her own niece as a hooker,
Yeah.
and
I
Luke
always
was
think about that.
was a bouncer at the brothel. So like even though they're like this tight-knit family, like Ruby did them all dirty putting them in that situation. And like they whitewash that so hard. Like nobody ever mentions it
Mm-hmm.
except every once in a while, like when Luke wants to run for mayor. Bobby's like, are you sure you want to run for mayor? And like she doesn't say it, but what she's trying not to say is like,
Mhm.
your aunt's
Well-
an ex-madam, and I was a hooker, and I'm a nurse, and I could get fired. You know?
So spoiler alert for you guys that he's running for mayor in
Everyone knows he
1982.
ran for mayor.
Oh no! That was
Some
the
reason
Laura.
Yeah,
Laura!
it's very important.
No, that's my favorite. One of my favorite scenes from them.
I think he's mayor for all of 10 seconds, I believe.
10 seconds,
So-
and then Laura comes back.
Everyone
sorry,
in town,
spoiler
everyone in
alert.
town gets to be mayor, and all Spencers get to be mayor eventually.
Yeah, right.
All
All right,
Spencers
guys,
get to be
well-
mayors, and all Scorpios get to be the police commissioner.
Well, we're gonna wrap this episode up of General Hospital 1981, Luke and Laura's wedding. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on all the socials, and have a good one, all.
Bye.
Bye.